All right, so we've got our two elements, our article and our A side, they're floating away from each other, right? They begun to go and float away and things are allowed up in the middle. So how are we going to keep these two bad boys together? What are we going to use to hold them together, right? Well, let's think about it. If we were to take two rubber duckies in the middle of a bathtub, yes, two rubber duckies in the middle of a bathtub, let's say these are rubber duckies, okay? And we were to take some tape and we were to tape them together, would things be allowed to float up in the middle? No, because they can't go apart from each other, right? So what can we use as tape? What can we use in our HTML and our CSS to hold these together? What about another box? What if we put a box around them, holding them together that was big enough to hold them together so that nothing else could come up in the middle? That box can be invisible too, right? Just like clear tape. Doesn't even need to exist for everybody else to see, but we know it exists because it's making it so the footer can't come up. All right, let's create it. So what we need to do is create a box. This box needs to contain the A side and the article. So I'm going to take my A side and my article and my code, and I'm going to tab that inward. After my nav, but before my A side, I'm going to open up a box. There's different semantic elements you can use. One I want to introduce is called a section. I'm going to open up my section before my A side and my article. Where am I going to close it? I'm going to close it after my article, but before my footer, to create that invisible box around them. A section is just obviously creating a section for something. So you can just develop a section tag, have it exist, and section off a portion of the page. I think this is important because the section tag is really versatile to be used for anything. So you can utilize it here, or you can utilize it up with the header in the nav or in the footer or whatever you wanted to use. It's not a specific area. If we did main, we could use main here, but we couldn't use main, like for instance, to hold the header and the nav together, because main indicates that this is the main important information of the web page that the user needs to see. Whereas a section is just a section of the page that exists. So it's important to note which one you're using. In this case, we're going to use section for just a moment and try it out. All right, we've got our section. It exists. Isn't it beautiful? You can totally see it. No. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go down to the bottom of our CSS and go ahead and stylize that section. The most important thing about this box is how wide it is, right? Holding it together. How wide? So I'm going to go ahead and call upon the section and make it the correct width. How wide do we want our section to be to hold this article and A side together so that it doesn't move? Well, how wide is the A side and how wide is the article? The A side is 200 pixels. The article is 600 pixels. So let's do some quick math. That's 800 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and put a width of 800 pixels here. All right, they're held together. So great. However, the footer is still popping up. All right, so what needs to happen now? If we think about it, the footer is allowed to still float up because we've said how wide it is. They don't come apart, but it's floating up behind it. The only reason we can see it is because the article is see-through. If I took away the alpha of the article right here, of the 0.2, you wouldn't be able to see it anymore if I had it be a 1. We wouldn't see it. We wouldn't notice it, but it's still there. It's still allowed to float behind it now. Not up in between it, but behind it. So we need to make it have a height too. If we make the section have a height as well, it'll push that footer down so it can't float behind it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give it a height equal to the height of the A side and the article, which the article and A side both have a height of 550 pixels. I'm going to go 550 pixels. And now, no footer back there. It's now pushed down to the bottom. Yay, that's what we wanted. Okay, so we've taken it, we put tape around it and tape all this way, and now nothing can come in the box and exist behind it or in front of it or to the side or anything like that, or in between them, right? And now no matter how wide you make your page, they'll sit next to each other because the invisible section around it is controlling it, all right? So this is great because now we've got these two boxes that float next to each other and don't float outside of their area, and nothing's allowed to float up in it.